I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Now, before you jump into this episode, if this conversation resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and share this with whoever you feel that needs to hear it. Together, your support helps us sustain this work, bringing transformational wisdom into the world and nurturing the awakening of our shared foundation, Mother Earth. Thank you very much. Welcome, Michelle Joyce, to this Divine Design podcast.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you today. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be asked.
Yeah, and we have met behind camera, and you found me, I think, to YouTube, or I don't know where you find me.
I did. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So you have the first time we met was mentoring with Ann-Peggy.
Yes. Yes.
And you have a beautiful daughter, so we kind of tried to find solution for her.
Yeah, I did. And I came across you through my mum, and my beautiful mum. She's so, she's such a powerful person in her quiet way, and she introduced me to your work and your YouTube channel. I was listening to so many of your podcasts and sessions that you did on YouTube. And one day, the only way I can describe it, I was really drawn to reaching out for a mentoring, mainly for my daughter. Yeah. And what unraveled from there transformed me. And that's what's so incredible about this, because I didn't expect that at all.
No, I wanted to ask you because I remember when we talk about your daughter and this, as I said, you said, what would you recommend? And I said, I would recommend the regression therapy. And I'm not sure, had you heard about it? Because it sounds like it was new for you.
It was completely new. Yeah. And I didn't understand why that would be a solution, but I knew I trusted you. I felt that I trusted you, and I just knew it was right. And so I didn't need to think, how would this work? Something inside me intuitively knew, yes, it was a yes.
Yeah, and some years ago, I would think that, okay, we cannot do regression therapy because we did it online. But I have done so many online because you lay down on the couch and I see your body and I guide you, and the session you did, you went through all this life, all past life, and everything. And after guiding you the 2 or 3 times the first, you started to do it yourself. So kind of your soul took over, and it's like, wow. And in the end, you went to the place where we have everything, kind of the source of us, by yourself, not me guiding you. You were there. I was like, wow, you are a natural.
Yeah, I remember you saying this. I know. The whole process felt really natural. The process was so incredible, and I think going into it open-minded, I had no expectations. I had no idea really what would happen, and it was powerful. It was so easy. I think, if I'd thought about it, how is this going to happen? Do I need to think things? Do I need to bring up memories? Do I need to actively start to think about my past? And for me, quite a lot of my emotions and quite a lot of what I would call my trauma, I don't remember. I don't have any traumatic experiences in my childhood. I was blessed. I've had a really beautiful life in this life, and it's felt on times really hard. And I've felt as though I'm holding on to something that's really big and really scary. and I had no memory and absolutely nothing that I could call on to then understand why I felt like that. And it made me feel on times I should just be grateful. I should just be grateful for what I have.
Yeah.
But there was something so big, and that's what you kind of showed me that day, and also before when you mentioned that, our body remembers and our body knows, and until you experience that, I didn't understand how powerful and how transformative that was.
Yeah, and you say that I'm courageous, but you are also very courageous. You followed your heart. You just knew. So you follow your gut instinct that yeah, this is good for me, and you did it even though you didn't know what it was. So that's very courageous.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think, following our heart and following our gut instinct, I think over the years, we've been taught to maybe suppress our gut feel. That feeling is so we don't speak about trusting our judgment and trusting the inner thoughts and inner dialogue that we have, that we just know those days where you sit there and you think, I just know what to do. It's not our mind, it's our body. It's something inside us that says, it's an inner intelligence and an inner wisdom.
Yeah.
And when we allow that to really grow, and it's powerful where it takes us, because you don't know. And I think that's the beauty of the unknown sometimes.
Yeah, I remember you and several also asked, what should we prepare? And I said, I will give you a sound file, like theta, so that you just relax. Because it
Yes.
is not from the head, it is the body speaking. It is the subconscious, the oversoul. It is kind of not the programmed mind. So we go out of the program and let the body tell the story it wants to tell.
Yeah, yeah, completely. And it's the process of letting go. I think that was my biggest concern, was how do I really let go?
Yeah,
How, because I think we want to make an effort to let go, and actually it's in the process of losing all of that, and letting go of the effort, and
yeah.
doing almost just doing nothing and experiencing the nothing is everything, is probably the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, so the paradox is that it is so simple, and at the same time, because we want so much to control it, we want to know what is this. So if you were even more in your head, because you had no idea what you said yes to, but you just trusted the inner knowing, you would probably
Yes.
have said no.
Completely. And I think I'd really like to sort of to mention that for me, we have to feel that we're in the presence of somebody who can hold a really safe space, and it's a really feminine strength, if that's right. With you, I felt so safe, so held, so secure, so I could let go even more,
Yeah.
because I could trust the process, and I could let my body unravel, and kind of speak the way it needed to, and allow whatever needed to come out to actually come out. And there was no need to try and control that, because I knew I was safe. I knew everything was fine. And so it became even more expansive. And I had no idea what was going to come out that day, and I'm still completely blown away as to what I learned. um I really am, and it's changed my life completely.
Yeah, and when we do this, we also record it, so you have the recording, so you can go into it several times, and this also deepened the experience for us.
Yes. Yeah, and so many different things can come up, I found. I don't know if other people find this, but I've listened to it 4 times now, and each time something different, a different way of thinking is
Yeah,
probably the way I describe it as, and a different feeling has arisen. It's almost as though the initial feeling I had is deepened.
yeah.
I've had more wisdom as to why I felt like that. The surrounding experience grew for me. Really, yeah.
Yeah, because this is a soul meeting, kind of connecting all life, all our experience. So it is you, unique you. So it's kind of all of us have unique experiences. So it's kind of okay. Because not to go into your, but you saw that things that you experienced in this life, if you had an emotion as a child, actually was related to something in another life. So the
Yes.
same emotion was kind of, oh, so you, even though even though it wasn't a trauma or something, but your mother or parents, they couldn't stop it because the soul have its agenda. So something we are supposed to experience.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, and also you started with, because often we go into this because we want to do it for our kids.
We do. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And it was all for me. It was exactly that. It was for Charlotte. Um, well, so Charlotte didn't sleep on her own at all since she's been born. And, I chose that initially for the first few years, but she's 9. She's 9 years old, didn't sleep on her own in her own bed. And I tried everything, absolutely everything that you can think of. And for Charlotte, the pivotal moment was when she had an illness recently, just a really standard winter bug, nothing unusual. And her illness really triggered me to my core. And I remember speaking to you about it and saying, Charlotte's poorly and I'm really triggered. There was no logic as to the extreme feeling that I was experiencing from something that shouldn't, to my logical brain, should be something so small. And I remember you saying to me that my soul language and the way that I think I was speaking and sharing with you kind of guided you or told you so much about that this might be sitting in a past life. So when I did the regression, um, well, my life changed completely, but Charlotte instantly slept all night in her own room. All of her symptoms disappeared. Her whole nervous system settled. She became so easy, so calm, so balanced. And I had battled for so many years to try and create that. And I didn't, it did never dawned on me that she mirrored my nervous system and what was going on with me. And so when I started to unravel what was happening for me in a past life and how that had really come through to what I was experiencing now, um, it, it now makes sense. It now absolutely makes sense. And when we experience everyday life and we apply, it feels different to us as we'd imagine it would feel. And it's because of our experiences. And something can feel so huge to us, which someone else can't understand. And no one else can help you other than you, I suppose, in unraveling that process. And now I understand why I feel the way I feel in each experience. It's helped me to see things and understand things differently. So now I have a similar feeling with an experience or something that comes up, and I know why.
Yeah.
And it's it's huge. It changes the way that you look at life,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, and also you, when you suddenly was in several past lives, but one of them you were with Charlotte, but just in another form. So it's kind of,
Yes.
and that's what I have met my children in several past lives. So we choose soul groups and we go into almost the same pattern because we want to do it together. So it's something for us, like we spoke about. So I think this is so fascinating.
It is. And, I was asked the questions. One of my friends, I shared with her the regression and what I'd found and what I'd learned. And she said, "How did you know it was Charlotte? How did you know?" And I don't know, you'll know far more than me, but for me in that moment in time, I felt her is probably the only way I can describe it. Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, it is the emotion. So it's kind of, when we think, how do you know? Because like we go to the head, but it is the emotion that are the true indicator. So it is, yeah. When we had the regression, it was the emotion that guided you all the way.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was the emotion that, and you told every experience you had, it was the emotion and the people. So you sensed them. So you were even more into your emotion, and the emotion led you to this, to that, from this life to past life. Even though we didn't plan anything, I just guided you to start one place, and then another, and then you started on your own because it's kind of like you were natural. It was like you had done this for so many, but you understood how it was. So yeah.
Yeah, it really was. And like you say, I kind of went back to another life and then another, and I didn't have to think. It just came to me, and it's almost as though I'd even say I felt like I was channeling the words, because I was so aware of what was being said, but I had no control over what I was saying. And you know, I think if I'd have thought about it, I probably wouldn't have wanted to almost admit some of my past life experiences, because
Yeah, yeah,
I in this time I wasn't proud. In this lifetime I wouldn't have been proud. And yet I channeled this experience and in true honesty, and it showed me so much about who I am today.
yeah,
But allowed me, and it's changed the way that I live everyday life. I feel as though I consciously choose to do the right thing. I consciously choose when an experience comes up, I consciously choose how I'm going to now live life. And
yeah.
that's a powerful gift to be
Yeah,
given.
yeah. And one more thing, I remember. I think it was the first life you went into. The feeling, it was actually when you were about to die in that life, and that feeling was kind of you had felt it, and because I have worked with so many in regression, like another one I remember, she had for 20 years felt a smoke. It was kind of a smoke, and it was actually herself in a past life when she smoked. She was a man, and she asked her family, "Do you smell this?" No one could smell it, but so it's kind of the the emotion, or if we smell or if we see something, it is kind of an aspect of us that is really wanting us to pay attention.
Yes, yeah. Now you mentioned, I mean, that was for me, that was the most important part of the process, because so as a child, when I would have been, can I say maybe 4, I remember being very, very small, and I started to have dreams which continued
Yeah.
all the way through to my life. I'm nearly 40. And it was crazy. I had this particular dream, and I could never recall the detail of the dream. I could recall the feeling, as you say.
Yep.
And for me, there was this giant ball. It felt like a ball, and I felt like I was really pushing against this giant ball of something. Um, and as I went through life and I started to reach out to try and heal myself, and I've been doing this for 10 years, trying to find the solution, I never paid attention to that dream or that experience. I just knew it was there. But every time I meditated, I had a glimpse of that feeling, but it would disappear. And then in the regression, wow, out of nowhere, it came to me. The feeling, I could feel it in my hands. My whole body felt the sensation, and I just knew and as you guided me, the giant ball became the absolute reason that in a past life, how my life ended.
Yeah.
And my body had remembered that experience, and it was waiting to be processed or released. Just wow.
Yeah. And now that we are talking about it, I remember several years ago, what's this Netflix? I think it's Netflix. They have a series of 6 documentary, and it was about reincarnation, and children remember dream having nightmares, and they remember how they died, how they kind of they was in Second World War. So, and in the beginning their parents thought their baby were crazy or what's happening, they have nightmares. And but then a man started, well, we have to listen into what is this kid saying. And then they made a documentary that, and they actually, some of them went back to, because they remember what the plane, because one of them was in a plane and it crashed down. And he remembered what the plane's name was, and he found himself in the past life. So it is more and more of this. And I see that when we do regression, because a lot of us want to go to mentoring or coaching, but doing regression, taking the soul and everything, then we really take the kind of the root.
Definitely, yeah. And I would never have known that. I would never have, because as you say, I've done the coaching, I've done the mentoring, I've paid thousands upon thousands for courses to get to the root of the issue, and then, you go on another course and you tell yourself that there's no issue. It's just that we are where we are because we're meant to be where we are, and this is the experience. And then you showed me a whole other level where you can go back to a past life and many past lives.
Yeah.
And then I also experienced, which I never thought was possible, going forward to source and this absolute bliss.
Yeah.
Absolute
Yeah.
bliss.
You did it for yourself, because normally I guide them, and you did it for yourself. Wow, you are natural.
Yeah, and it felt so natural, and I've never had such a sense of peace. And I've heard people talk about the space, that bliss, that energy, and everything feels okay and fine. And for me, to experience that, I would love to live in that space every day. It was everything and nothing all at the same time. It was just
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
I experienced that the first time in 2008. And it was like, what is this? I felt like I was God. I felt I was everything. It's like everything and nothing. I cried a lot. It was so emotional. It was so, and I was on the mountain and in nature, and that also for me, when I experienced it the first time, this is where I want to live from. Is it possible? So that became kind of, okay, I have experienced that. I don't think it's for a reason. So even though I didn't start the deep, because this was 2008 and my youngest daughter was just 2 years, and you being a mother, 5 children, so so I started it in 2011. So small steps, and but that stick with me. So the same as you, when you have felt it and been there once, it's like, okay, this is where I want to live from 24/7.
Definitely. And yeah, when you experience it, it's like nothing else.
Yeah.
It's you don't need anything. Everything is there. Everything you have, you are everything. It is pure bliss. And yeah, just every experience within that moment of regression, and what I experienced and went through and remembered, and then how I cast forward is utterly transformational. To anybody even considering it, I would say definitely do it, because it's wonderful. It's like nothing else. And I think, what you learn from that can guide you every day.
Yeah.
And you're your own guide. You don't need the coaching as much anymore. You don't need the mentoring. You realize that you become your own powerful guide.
Yeah.
And you can't explain that until you go through it yourself, I think.
No, that's true. Yeah.
It's just really, yeah.
And another thing, we talked a little bit in the start, and also said, well, what triggered me, because we get triggered, or we are afraid of our children. And we talk about something before we started, and something that is going on also big time in Norway and in your country, this Jeffrey Epstein case. And we have Marius Höjby, he is the son of Mette-Marit. I don't know if you've heard about them.
Yes.
Yeah. And he is now in court, and he has raped a lot of girls. And this is coming up. And we he get a lot of critics, of course, and it's a lot of meaning, and it's hard, of course, for Mette-Marit. But this is actually a mirror to all this country, to Norway, because I have worked with so many that have experienced this kind of abuse. So many. So when we, instead of judging him or judging someone, okay, how is, okay, I feel this, if that happened to my child, if this happened, to take it inward, how can we release it in ourselves? Because what's happening in our country, it is actually a mirror to us. So Marius is actually mirroring, okay, all men and women can see. And I have worked with women in this life that have been in past life, and they have been a raper, they have been a violent man, and they live with this pattern, and it's like, I just want to kill, I want to rape. So we cannot say that, oh, it's just for men, just for women, because we have been it all, like you also experienced it. So it's not to blame the man or the women, but because we experience it all. But to take it back, okay, what do I feel, to go inward into our own feelings, why we are triggered. It is a reason we are triggered. And we say, oh, we do it for our kids. Yeah, I also said first years I did it for my kids, but actually it was my own pattern that I needed to go through.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really interesting, because especially with our conversation that we had when we started, for me, you're absolutely right. With the Epstein files, that really did trigger me on a really deep level, from I think, being a mum, and the sense of wanting to control and
Yeah.
protect the environment that my daughter's in. We don't want to experience that pain. I think that's human, isn't it? We don't want our children to experience it. But you're absolutely right. And I don't think I've ever looked at life like that before, in terms of the mirror and transforming us and doing the inner work. But yeah, I can see how that would be so powerful. And it can be quite scary, I think, when you start out. I know for me, it was scary, because I was opening myself up to the unknown.
Yep. Yep.
I already felt like I couldn't cope with life as it was, in some respects. As dramatic as that sounds, it was really true. And so the idea of opening myself up to something unknown, in the hope that it would lead to something really powerful and healing and amazing. And my healing journey was really up and down. It wasn't easy and straightforward, but the more challenges that I experienced, the deeper that I connected to me. And when you read about coming home to yourself and remembering who you are, that really starts to make sense when you do the deep inner work, I think.
Yeah. And when we are into this topic, I remember when I channel UK. When I channel UK, I channel some countries. I felt so much sexual abuse on my body. It was like I puked, I became sick, and I feel the violence from UK for a whole week. And I met several people that have really experienced this. So and also in Iran, it's like, when I channel that, because we see it, we use it as a weapon. We rape girls and boys because we take out their soul, kind of. We take all the power. Raping someone and doing this, like Epstein and all this crime, it is actually taking away our soul. So we are crushed on a soul level. So it is actually the most devastating that happens to us. And we have done it for so many years. So now it's kind of standing up. And also, not only women, men also need to stand up for the other man's kind of. It's not men against women. Men need to help women to stand up to this. Because they will also feel it if they don't stand up for us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Like your prince that had this been in the Epstein, he has had a hard time.
Yeah, I suppose it's the balance of life, would you, or the balance of experience, would you say, or that everything has to balance out?
Yeah, and some like Marius here is a symbol, and Prince Andrew, is it then? Yeah,
Yes.
in your country, because
Yeah, yeah.
when I channel, he came out as a symbol, and also what came into me was Diana, and she was wow. She had I went into her soul contract. She had chosen this to kind of really shake your king house, kind of the royal house in England, and she really did.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it was very emotional channeling UK because she came up as a symbol at really trying to shake it up, and then her brother-in-law on the other side that really was a symbol of the old being in Epstein and all of that. So what is happening in UK is also a mirror for all of us.
Wow. So do you think when we all, so if we were all to do the inner work and all to really work on who we are, would we elevate as a nation? Is that how it would work? Would we essentially transform the world that we see?
Yes, because all what has happened in UK, what has happened in Spain, what has happened in Iran, all of it, we have a collective consciousness. So since when I was 11, 12 years when I had my first panic attack, and I was at a place, and this place it was very hard energy. Crime had happened, to put it like that. So I felt it. I was in the consciousness of that field, and I thought that I would die. And it was so much hatred, it was so much violence, it was so cruel, a cruel field. So I felt it on my body, but I, as a 11, 12-year-old, thought that it was something wrong with me. I didn't know that no one had told me that being someplace actually you can feel it taking it in, because I just had understand that, oh, it's something wrong with me. But I was in that field and thought that, well, it's me that have anxiety panic attack. But so this happened sometimes when I was a teenager, and it wasn't until I was adult that I understood that, oh, it wasn't me that was wrong, but I was in the field and it was crazy. It felt like it was pain. It was really pain. So deep pain. So, like this place this was in a smaller place, but if you take it a bigger, every country had its rule, its government, and all what we do, because we have a culture. England have one culture, and all that you agree upon, saying, thinking, doing things, it makes a collective consciousness for that country. And the same with Norway. The way we think in Norway makes a collective consciousness. So the more we work with our consciousness to rise higher, 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 and work with our shadow side, like we have spoken about, taking, like, why are we triggering? The more we raise, and then we affect our country.
Wow,
So we
that's
spread.
incredible.
Yeah, so we spread. So it is not one one person. We are all in it together.
Yeah, which feels amazing. The unity and I think sometimes as a nation we can feel divided with experiences that come up, and probably in those experiences, I know for me, when I've felt most divided from people around us, because we're meant to be together, aren't we? We're meant to be communities, we're meant to support each other, we're meant to help each other and bring our own little piece of the jigsaw together.
Yep.
We've all got our own magic, and so when we feel divided, I think that can be a really tough time, because you have to show real courage and bravery and belief in yourself to get through that and not be taken with the majority, whichever way it's going. I think to be able to stand strong and firm and in your own beliefs and in your own nature
Yeah.
and kind of move past that
Yeah.
is just incredible. And I truly believe each and every one of us have the ability to do all of that and more. I think part of me really feels as though sometimes I'm in this life and I'm somewhere else at the same time, and there's
Yeah.
so much more. And that's the only way I can describe it, and whenever I'm in your presence, I really feel an anchor into that, and I feel that there's so much more out there, more than our consciousness can interpret in words. And yeah, just working with you has been, in this short space of time, has
Yeah,
been the
very,
most.
very short.
It's very short. I know. I don't even know how long, but it's very short
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
And of all the work I've done for 10 years plus, this has been the most transformational, but in the most gentle and natural way, you
yeah.
know.
And also what I love about it, because this is music in my ear, because the decision you take, you stand much stronger in it. So you have more power in all the decision you take also. So we become more powerful to open up the shadows, because then we come into our diamond. And when we are in our diamond, the power we have then is like, wee, enormous.
It is, yeah. I think people around us feel that, and it's definitely, now you say that, I've definitely experienced that this last couple of weeks, and I've shared that with you on messages where I have really been, I'm no longer afraid to say how I really feel,
Yeah.
and that's huge,
Yeah.
for me, and I suppose for most people, because we feel we can't say what we want to say, we can't share and stand our ground, especially when things are a little bit controversial, because we're so scared.
Yeah.
And now I'm not so scared. Don't get me wrong, I'm not completely fearless, but it's changed so
Yeah.
much, and that's incredible. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, my generation and older, we have hold so much back, so much, and also some young also hold back, but we aren't supposed to hold back. We are supposed to be brave and to put out. We have, all of us have soul gifts, and if we are brave, I know that our soul gift will come to other people. Like my soul gift is to hold the space, to be the feminine space holding, so that thing can come up. And the benefit you have had, and I see that your life have transformed. I have seen so many lives transform just being me, and all of us have it. Like, if we just are ourselves, we are contributing to heaven on earth.
Yes. Yeah. I understand that now. I understand that better. And I think for me, when I was looking for a solution, I suppose, I think I had an expectation of how I wanted life to be. And I had to let go of all of that
Yes.
to find the magic that existed beyond that. And
Yeah.
actually, if I knew this was how I would feel now, I could never have written that. I could never have created that. I could never have dreamt that that existed, because it's as though a universe is transformed inside of me.
Yeah.
And that's just, yeah, I could talk all day about how phenomenal the experience has been. And for such a short session as well, a few hours, I think. And it was so easy, and just for me, when I had the regression, my body actually, I could physically feel the the emotion and the energy kind of flow through me and out, and it was almost as though I processed it in that moment. Um, and I yeah, just incredible, incredible. And the fact that you can hold such a powerful space is, you can't put into words.
Now, and what is interesting, because now in 26, 27, 28, because we will see even more of this violent thing coming up, because it has happened for a lot of years. And at the same time that everything is coming up, we can choose to have a better life than ever. So it is also, what are we choosing now? So because we are waking up. So if I was watching the news every day, it's like, oh, going to fear, and oh no, they say that, and then another bomb and take that country. But if we just go inward, okay, what can I do to raise my consciousness? What can I do? Am I triggered about? So go to investigate ourselves. That's the best way, because I started my path in 2000, the deep one, even though I work as a therapist and all this. But the deepest, after I was having a lot of education, I went the even deeper. So I had to go even, because being a Gestalt therapist as I am, we had to go deep. But after this, I went even deeper. So the deeper we go, the more we can help other.
Yeah, of course. I can understand that. And I suppose it's a journey that that deepens and transforms and takes different turns. And yeah, and you're right. You have done the work yourself, which is why such deep work, which is why you can then hold such a powerful space and a safe space without, I guess, taking on the energy yourself, maybe. Is that how,
I don't do it now, but I did. That's why I kind of, like I said, I had panic attack. So
Yeah.
I took it in because I was I was a wounded healer. It is a scripted. We have some archetype, and I was a wounded healer, so I was supposed to be wounded so that I could learn from all my woundings. I have had carried a pain body, and through all my pain and taking in a lot of others' pain, I understand how we create life here, how we create sickness, how we create imbalance. So this was, I have done it in a lot of other past life also, but this time as a woman I also have and I had to go through it. I wanted to go through it because it is an experience, and now I own it. It's not only it, as I said, it's not mental. I have gone through it. I have felt it. Go through the emotion. I have cried. I have been angry. I have been all the emotion. A lot of shame. I had so much shame. I felt that I was a complete failure. I couldn't do, and yeah, as my son also, he commits suicide, and I wanted to do it when I was a teenager. So yeah, I have walked the path. So, and that's the important for all of us, kind of, to really allow ourselves to feel the emotion. And I commit suicide in another life, so that's why I did it in another life, and it sticked with me. So that's what I had it in this life also. So it is kind of, it's not just this life. So this also reminds us that not to blame our parents for everything, because I know that when my son commits suicide, we had a psychologist that come into our home, and she was supposed to help us. And we met her once, me and my husband, and she was not emotional available. And I thought, what? She could all the statistics. She was all about here in the head. But the kids, all two of the kids, went some hours to her. And what she did, she planted, she said, it's your mother's fault. So she turned them against me. And she sent message about me she meant that I wasn't fit to have children, so she wanted the child protective system to take away the children, but she was only in her mind. So yeah, she had studied to this, and she was not emotional available at all, and she actually brought even more crisis into our family just by what she did.
Yes.
So yeah, we have to change the way we help people, because when we blame our parents, it is not because we as a soul, we also want to experience something. So she blaming me, I'm glad, because I had signed up for this, but I have my strength. Psychological, I can take a lot, but I'm a human as well. So I'm glad that this happened to me, and I have had a lot of help. But normally this isn't supposed to happen. We cannot blame mothers and fathers. Oh, it's your fault. Your child commits suicide, or your child did that. It's like shaming parents. We doesn't help them. So the people that are supposed to help us, they cannot go into this shaming the parents, and so, because this is happening a lot in Norway actually, because we have such a good system, child protecting system. So a lot of parents know that they need therapy, They know that they have issue, but they don't dare to seek it because they know if they seek it, the child protective system come and take their kids. This is the case in Norway. So I have worked with so many parents and said, I know that I should have help, but I cannot say it because then they will take my kids. And yes, and that's what happened to my family as well. So I know. And I stood up because but not all are strong enough to stand up to the government, because this is the government.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, to stand up to the government is, does it get bigger than that? I mean, that's impossible. And I suppose it's, what lengths are you prepared to go to in terms of how much are you prepared to really risk losing to almost gain everything? But that's terrifying because, and it's the I suppose the wisdom and the intelligence that you know or channel or have experienced is, like you say, it's not what they're doing through just the mind, and is harmful,
Yeah,
and
it is.
it's harmful generationally, I imagine, because then generations learn and have the same experience and idea in the blame, which is so unhealthy. Um, that's devastating. Yeah.
Yeah, and the culture we have lived, it has been kind of a blame culture for hundreds of years. We haven't treated each other nicely.
Yeah, which sounds crazy, doesn't it? I mean, we're meant to have compassion for, we're all
Yeah,
human. We're meant to extend compassion, but I suppose it's easier to blame sometimes. I can't relate to that, but I can definitely relate to having a almost a blame tendency towards my own parents. I've been triggered by my mum. We trigger each other. We're the
yeah,
closest. We've always been so close, so we trigger each other, and it's too easy to blame her, or has been in the past. And when I've gone through my journey of healing and growing and realizing that, my mum did the best she could
yeah,
with the experience and the knowledge and the whatever she knew in her consciousness within that moment, she did what she could out of
yep,
total love for me.
yep,
How can you blame? How can you find blame there? And when we extend compassion and open our hearts to say, how, I wasn't in her shoes. How do I know I could have done it differently? I don't. And that's when you then transform yourself, I think, as well. When you can extend that love
yeah,
for being perfectly imperfect.
yeah,
That's what we should all do, isn't it?
yeah. And me, I also said, of course, my mother, we trigger each other a lot. And also, my youngest, I think that it shifted a year ago when she was 18, 19. She's 20 now. Now it's kind of, we don't trigger so much. But until she was 19, she kind of got everything out on me. And I was glad because if she hadn't get it out on me, she had someone to get it out because she get it out. Her sister is kind of taking it more into her. So I'm glad that my children take it out on me
Yes, to
because
release it.
yeah, to release it, because it to do it. The otherwise is like their oldest brother. He took it in himself and he commits suicide. That is the extreme. So I'm so glad as a mother every time my child is angry, kind of come out with the frustration. And the one that has been best of that was the younger. She was kind of all the frustration she got it on me, and I was so glad that she did.
Yeah, I mean, but we're kind of taught culturally, we're not taught to express that. It's almost seen, especially, I feel like as growing up, it was always seen as, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't let it out. You should keep it in because that's what's safer for everyone else around, and that's what everyone else is comfortable with. And you're right. We need to release it. We need to process it and let it go. Otherwise, I guess it transforms internally, or gets stuck. Maybe it gets stuck.
Yeah, it can get stuck, and then we get health issues.
Yeah,
The
of
body
course.
mirror us all the time, so
Yes, and I suppose it's awareness then for anybody that's experiencing anything. I guess when we bring awareness to what we're experiencing and how we feel,
Yeah.
um, yeah, because how we should really, and that again comes back to our intuition, doesn't it? We should really tune in to us and who we are, and let that be the guide. And I'm so grateful that you're here to help everybody through this, because I think doing it alone is quite scary, and having someone who's experienced so much and can really feel into, having someone that can feel into what you're feeling is what we need, because that's the way, isn't it? That's the way, that's the guiding light, as they say. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been. Today I'm glad, but when you are in the midst of it, it's not. It's not that yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I can imagine. No,
But today
no.
I'm glad that yeah, all the experience, and even my son who commits suicide, I'm not glad about that, but I'm still learning because he's reborn and I will meet him when he is a teenager. So
Wow.
yeah, I even though I knew it, when you had the experience, it becomes something different.
Of
So,
course.
so
Yeah.
I know that, and also what, yeah, the last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe it is. It was the first time I, no, it's 6 years. Wow, time. Yeah, I met my grandchild. It's my grandchild is not born.
Wow.
So she came and also the last couple of years it's like parallel lives, and it's like wow, this is kind of endless. Even myself, I think this is so fascinating and so big, understanding the universe and the creation. Wow, it is so fascinating. And what I can say for sure, never judge, never judge, because we don't know what is behind past life, future life, what we have chosen. So yes, we are all in it together, and we need each other to, we need the triggers, because it is the triggers that helps us to come to our essence.
Yes, yeah, I'm starting to really see that. And do you know, one of the things that you said that stuck with me was that you always said that you choose the light, you choose the light, and I remember asking you, and I still have to really think about that and process that. That sounds so huge, and I always think, how do I do that? How do I every day choose the light? Because the world around us can feel really scary, and we can sit in fear. Especially for me, my fear was around illness, and it was why I went on a journey to become an Ayurveda coach, because I wanted to really understand. But I think an element of me wanted to control my destiny, because I was so afraid of illness. I needed to learn more, and I needed to keep learning so that I could prevent the pain of what I thought I was going to experience. And as incredible as my Ayurveda journey's been and understanding, it's it all came back to awareness of myself. And we can't control life. We can't control each day, but we can choose how we want to experience the present moment. And I suppose for me, that's the meaning that I brought to what you said. Was I wake up every day, I'm grateful I get to wake up, and I choose how I'm gonna go into my day consciously, and all I can do is keep choosing.
Yeah. And that is what we do from second to second, because it is actually just two emotion kind of, because it is love and fear, or everything that is kind of holding back and afraid, aspects of that, hatred and all this cruelty, and all the other side is love and all the uplifting emotion. So it is actually, do we choose trust, because trust, love, unconditional love, and all this, um, or do we hold back, we fear, can't try to control. Control is actually fear.
Yes,
And
yeah.
and I have lived with a lot of control because I wanted to control everything. Being a mother of 5 kids, I wanted to protect them, protect, protect, protect.
Yeah, which is natural.
Yeah.
And it is such a human experience. And I think I also confused how do we choose, how do we step out of fear every day and not have a plan? So how do we, but I guess it's just being present, isn't it? It's being present. It's kind of I build a set of habits every day that nurture my body, and I kind of accept that I can do no more right now. Right now this is enough for me,
Yeah.
and I have no idea what the future holds, but right now that feels okay. And again, it comes back to how we feel and
Yeah.
being present, and like you say, choosing love, choosing, I suppose, in frequency terms, choosing the higher frequency, the higher vibrations, and I use music as well, to try and lift my frequency and my vibration. If I'm feeling in fear, in fact, if I'm feeling in a state of fear, it's sound that I go to bring me out of that, because that works for me. Um, yeah, incredible.
Yeah, so it is to listen, to be, because we are, when we are in our head, we are not listening. This is the program. But we are, if we are listening to the body, as we did in the regression, and listening to Mother Earth, listening to our family, all life is talking to us all the time. It is so amazing when we start to understand why we, if I hear a word, I can be triggered, but it can be a good word. I trigger for, because I remember when I heard Grace for the first time. Grace became my leading star, but I had no relationship. But I was triggered by the word Grace, and I had a guiding. This is kind of follow Grace, and it's like, what will that? Because Grace is not, in Norwegian. It is Nåda, and Nåda. I had no resonance with Nåda, but Grace was my leading star, but not Nåda. And it was Grace that guided me to all my journeys. So it's like I listened to Grace, and I listened to. So if we start to listen to, then it is so easy. Then we are just in the flow instead of controlling it.
Absolutely. Yeah, which sounds so simple.
Yeah, it is. It
And
is.
and you say, there's so many times you've said to me, it's regression is simple, and being in flow is so simple. And I suppose it's starting the journey, isn't it, as well? It's starting the journey and allowing, and trust. You said it, trust.
Yeah.
Trust in the process. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, trust is love. Trust is, so when you live with trust, because I live with trust, all that happens, like, okay, I trust, even if something, yeah, like my oldest daughter that has been really sick, and the doctor said we don't know if I trusted, or I also connected to the soul journey now. But when my son had cancer, I didn't trust anything. I was so in fear. So just to come to live with trust, oh, it is such a relief. Oh,
Yeah, it's a relief.
a relief.
Relief. Yeah, yeah.
So
Unknown, but relief. Yeah.
when we are safe, everything can come when we are safe.
Mm. Gosh, they're just letting that sink in, because that's huge, really. Wow, when we feel safe, yeah. Yeah, when we feel safe in our body as well.
We haven't
Gosh.
felt safe for thousands of years because we have protect, protect, protect. So what we are going now, I talk about going from Homo luminous to Homo sapiens to Homo luminous. And Homo sapiens, it is in the reaction, 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 trigger, trigger. So we have to protect, protect, protect. But when we live as Homo luminous, we don't need to protect. We live in totally trust. And we listen. So the shift, it is so amazing. It is so amazing. But we are more and more people. I see that, and I talk to a lot of them. So it's like we are really in an amazing time. Even though we see all the cruelty that comes up, but it needs to comes up because we are going against an amazing future.
Wow. And I suppose the life around us is so busy. So to anybody that's in that busyness and in that treadmill of life. And it's trusting that when you get off that treadmill, trusting when you just create moments of stillness and peace, it starts to transform life, because it's in the stillness and the nothingness that there's everything.
Yep. We think that, we have to do something. So it is actually from the doing to just being.
Yeah, exactly. From the doing to just being.
Yeah.
And trying to explain that to somebody is, you can't always. That's how you get there. But I think, yeah, to just being and just being us.
Yeah. As you said, you were in this place and you just, oh, it's so beautiful being here. Like I also experienced the first time. So when you, wow, can it be so easy? Can it be so amazing? Yes, it can. So more and more of us have experienced this. And the first time, then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at the end, we just are there 24/7.
Wow. Okay. Oh, I'm excited for that. That's just, even getting glimpses each day is powerful, and
Yeah.
it brings meaning. When people say that, you know, nothingness is everything and things around us have no meaning, even that made no sense until I was in that space, and it made perfect sense. That's where we deserve to be. That's how we should be and feel each day. Yeah,
Yeah, and the most important, you said that it's like until I experienced it, because we it's not in the head. We had to experience it. So that's the answer right there.
yeah, we have to experience it. Yeah, completely. And I'm so grateful that I've found you on this journey. It's been just transformational for me, even in my work and day-to-day life. The way my relationship with Charlotte has is so much easier. Don't get me wrong, we still trigger each other, but we learn, and it's a mum thing, and I still worry about her, but it's deepened our connection.
Yeah.
And all of my connections have deepened, and just this is how we're meant to be. This is how life is meant to be. Yeah. Wonderful.
And thank you so much, Michelle, for doing it, because yes, when you doing it, it spread and it spread and it spreads to more and more of us doing it. We are moving, all of us are moving into Homo Luminous. So it is amazing.
It is. And I hope everyone does this. Yeah, I do.
So I just have to say thank you so much, Michelle, and also thank you for saying yes to be on this podcast and sharing your journey.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an absolute honor to sit with you today and just share this. It's just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. If this conversation resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this with whoever you feel that needs to hear it. Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.